What embarrassing moment did you not stop someone from doing because you wanted to see what happened instead? I was at a convention with a friend and went to the bathroom at break time. He heads into a stall and I go to the urinal. A man walks right behind me and heads into another stall, unseen by my friend. Now, this man had some problems. Serious noises and smell coming from his stall. And then I hear my friend say, "Dude, what the heck, are you trying to win a contest?" And he proceeds to let a huge one rip and giggle. The man in the other stall does not reply, and unfortunately still has his own issues. My friend says, "That's all you got? Check this one out." I'm crying from holding in laughter at this point, as he lets another loud one fly. My friend thinks I'm in the other stall, and we're alone in there. The other guy probably thinks he's in there with an absolute psycho. Then finally, my friend, after getting no response from me, says, "Yeah boy, my crap's so powerful it got you speechless." And he laughs. The other guy is probably terrified. At this point, I start washing my hands, so my friend can simultaneously hear the faucet running and crapping still going on in the stall next to him. I say, "Hey Joe, just gonna wash up and head back to the meeting room. Meet you there." It was absolutely hilarious how quiet that bathroom got when the realization sunk in for him. By the time they were both done, nobody wanted to come out first. My friend joined me in the meeting room, red-faced, with a look that said, "Seriously, dude? Could you not have spoken up sooner?" "Oh, well, you just seemed like you were having so much fun having that pooping contest, so I just wanted to let you have it." It happened in high school while watching an educational movie. We were two classes tucked into a small classroom to watch it together, so people had to sit on the desk as there wasn't enough chairs. I sat next to my friend's girlfriend on a desk, with my friend on a chair in front of us. She strokes her hand through his hair, and he takes his hand behind his back and proceeds to stroke her leg. Only thing was, it was my leg. I poked his girlfriend to let her know what was going on. We both knew what had to be done without uttering the words. We let this go on for a good 5 minutes, constantly fighting the urge to laugh out loud. Then I slowly pulled my trouser leg up. He stroked my very furry leg for about half a second before he realized something was very wrong. I'll never forget his face when he turned around to see what was going on. Yeah, speaking of hairy legs, there's a really hairy animal that will not chill out right now, so she's gonna have to go sit over there. This one is reversed, as it was my friend laughing maniacally while it happened to me. My college roommate used to work at this chicken restaurant called Chicken Express. We would go eat at a location close to campus pretty often, 'cause it's delicious. So one time he tells me, "Hey man, when you order the tenders, make sure you say shibby shibby after you order. That's the code to tell them that you work at Chicken E, and they'll hook you up with like 20 tenders." Maybe it was wishful thinking or just plain stupidity, but I totally believed him. We drove through the drive-thru, and he was in the back seat. The conversation with the employee went like this. I'll have 2 number 1s with mashed potatoes. Shibby shibby." Says, "Okay, 2 number 1s with mashed potatoes, and what was the last thing?" Shibby shibby." It's like, "I'm having trouble hearing you. A what now?" "Shibby shibby." "Sir, I have no idea what you're trying to say. Do you want to pull around?" At which point I look back and see my friend almost turning blue from trying to hold his laughter in. He totally lost it, and I just drove off. See, this is why you just don't trust anybody ever for whatever reason. I went out to eat at Hibachi with my family. I think I was 10 or 11 at the time. In addition to giving us sauce trays to dip our food into, they also gave us shaved ginger and a dollop of wasabi. My grandpa grew up during the Great Depression, so he developed a habit of always cleaning his plate. So as he finished his meal, he moved his attention to the side dish. No one seemed to notice my grandpa staring quizzically at the rather large green lump. Not wanting to waste food, he picked the entire thing up to eat it. I could have clearly stopped him as I had been watching him the entire time, but I also wanted to see what would happen. Well, he just about jumped out of his seat, spitting the wasabi onto the table, and started cursing up a storm. I know it was wrong to do, but I still get a little kick out of that memory. Well, if you've ever seen Jackass, you'll know that that's not the worst thing that's ever been done with wasabi. Last summer we went camping, and when I tried to use one of the campground coin-operated showers, I was disappointed when I put in $1 and it didn't work. As I waited for the one that did work, a guy came up behind me and said, "Hey, it looks like that shower room is vacant. Are you waiting for this one in particular?" I explained that I had tried, but that it was out of order, so there was now 2 of us waiting for one shower room. Just minutes later, a woman and 3 kids comes by, looks at us waiting in line, and makes a dash for the vacant shower room. One of the kids looked at us quietly and asks if there's a line, and she responds, "Shh," and the 4 of them go in and switch to the door to occupied. Maybe I'm the one who should be embarrassed by not telling her. Undressing yourself and 3 kids, inserting quarters that you'll never get back, only to have to redress everyone and sheepishly get in the line you should have been in to begin with, is probably a bit of an overkill for the crime of seeing an opportunity and taking it. Anyway, she was in an even longer line when I got out, and glared at me as I went back to my family's camping spot. It definitely made me feel less bad about allowing her to go on a karmic adventure. You know, it's kind of a funny psychological thing when you show up to where there's a bunch of different lines, but then one that has no line. And you're like, do I make a fool out of myself by trying it? Because if nobody else is using this one, there's obviously something wrong with it. But then it's even more hilarious when somebody else just walks right up and it works just fine. Many years ago, I was hanging out with a bunch of friends from college, which we had all graduated from about 5 years before the story takes place. We're having dinner. It's 4 married couples and 1 single dude. So we all went to college together. The single guy starts talking about how he ran into this girl, Jennifer, who we all went to college with, and with whom he had had a brief fling with in college. I know that every single man at the dinner table except me slept with Jennifer when we were in college. I also know that the other guys are not aware of each other having slept with her, and none of the women are aware that all of their husbands had slept with her. So not only do I not stop the single guy from talking about his recent encounter with her, I ask him a lot of questions. How is she? What's she doing? Does she have a boyfriend? Man, was she hot in college? Hey friend, don't you also think she was hot in college? Hey other friend, didn't you have a few classes with her? And on. For about 10 minutes. Or just long enough for every other dude at the table to turn beet red. Meanwhile, the single guy has no idea what's going on, and is getting more and more confused about why I'm asking him questions about his old girlfriend. See, it would have been even more entertaining if you had told him, hey, why don't you invite her to come to dinner with us? My roommate in college wanted to slide down the hallway on baby oil, and threw me a bottle to squirting in the floor. He was trying to show off and was kind of a douche. He starts running before I even put oil on the floor. I could have stopped him, but had a let's see how this plays out moment. Did you know tile will remove skin and hair from a shirtless Italian man? Oh, well, that's good to know. Maybe you should just stick to slip and slides. A lady walking out of the bathroom with toilet paper on her foot. I went to say something and she gave me a disgusting look, so I just let her keep walking. Yeah, I know that a lot of women hate getting hit on while they're out in public, but sometimes they take it a little too far of just like completely brushing off any person that tries to talk to her. And sometimes you're just gonna have to pay the price for that. So in college, I became friends with this girl who was kind of a world traveler right when I transferred in. She was part of an international group that welcomed all of the international students, and shortly after, invited me to a party for all the international students. So I'm meeting a lot of new people, and there's a really stunning girl from Italy that I was interested in talking to. My friend encouraged me to go open with Bella Figa when talking with her. Beautiful girl was the meaning. It had Bella in it, so I thought, what the heck. I make my way to her, introduce myself, and say those magical words. The beautiful Italian girl gave me the most repulsed look and walked away. I turned around and my friend is laughing hysterically. It translates to, you have a beautiful pussy. Hey, and so do I. Look who's back. She never leaves me alone when it's this cold. My wife and I decided to hang out with some friends one night, and we noticed a new guy joining the group. He seemed nice, but a little off. Anyways, we were playing some games, and the guy manages to cut his hand wide open. Since no one really knows the guy, I offer to take him to the hospital. My wife and I jump in the car, and I let him sit in the front seat. He seemed super happy about my wife riding along with us, and started chatting with her. I keep peeking in the mirror, realizing he's totally interested in my wife, and my wife is trying to keep a straight face. She lets him flirt, trying to be nice and not embarrass him, as I drive in silence until we get to the hospital. He hops out and is trying to make plans with my wife to go out to dinner or a movie, and she's dropping hints like flashing her ring and telling him she's busy. Finally, he's like, fine, if you don't want to go out, just say so. I laugh and tell him I don't let my wife go out on dates without me. He got beet red and told us that he'd find his own way home. I think I enjoyed watching the boost of confidence it gave my wife the most. I can tell her she's amazing all the time, but stuff like that is proof. Yeah, I mean, I suppose in some ways it is a bit flattering. I'm sure there's plenty of very odd couples out there that actually try to get people to hit on their spouse just for reasons like this. There's nothing better than working in a shop and watching one of the office people try to use a pallet jack for the first time. It's always gold. Yeah, you definitely get to watch people's egos crumble quite a bit when they think, I could do your job better than you can, and they can't. I was at a casino buffet once, standing in the sushi section waiting for my turn. This old white lady cuts in line and takes a huge dollop of wasabi and puts it on her plate full of Mexican food. I can only assume she thought it was guacamole, which for some reason they kept next to the sushi. In the moment, I felt she deserved what was coming to her. Man, that's 2 stories with old people not knowing what wasabi is. Is wasabi just like some sort of new invention? My teacher didn't turn off the projector after the PowerPoint, and you could see his desktop on the smartboard. Everyone was quiet and just looking, hoping for something embarrassing to happen. Then he opened up his email. Yawn. He just went through reading a couple of emails before he noticed. Yeah, this does kind of remind me of being in school where every little thing that could be kind of entertaining is just 10 times more entertaining when it's at school. Like, you really just have to take what you can get while you're there. Not long ago, I spent 9 months on an aircraft carrier for deployment. About 6 months in, the days were all looking the same, so anything for a laugh was welcome. One afternoon, I visited a bathroom near my workstation to find a friend, and the walls and ceiling, dripping wet. He said the toilet had exploded in his face when he flushed it. Now, it's not uncommon for pipes to break, and I had a small chuckle at his misfortune. It wouldn't have even been memorable had it ended there. A while later, I returned, trying to stay hydrated, and someone was in the stall mopping the place up. Again, nothing memorable. I take care of my business and leave, but think, wow, they fixed that quickly? But again, after a quick drain, I'm washing my hands and see someone I don't really know enter the stall in question through the mirror. At this point, it dawns on me that the average repair time for issues like this is usually weeks, not hours. I expected to see tape labeling the stall secured, but here was this guy, taking a leak in the mopped dry stall. The thought to warn him crosses my mind, but I just have to know. I need this. I take a step to my left as the trickle stops. The metal clink of the handle is immediately followed by a rush of a fire hose at full blast. Water sprays clear out onto the mirror I had been looking through, against the stall walls and pounding against the ceiling. When the blast ends and the bottom stall looks like a waterfall, I hear soggy boots slowly turn around with a squishy slosh, and out steps a dripping Marine in a drenched uniform. We exchange surprised glances as I suppress my laughter. To break the silence, he says, "Well, that sucked," and slowly sloshed out of the bathroom. I could have stopped it, but it made my day, week, month, even deployment. Wow, so you get a surprise water party in the bathroom and all you can say is, "Well, that sucked." My friend wanted to be lifted up and slammed into the ground by a guy he had just met at this party. I pull a Gene Wilder style, "No, stop." I mean, it is kind of a weird proposition when somebody just comes up to you and says, "Hey, I need you to hurt me really bad." And you're just like, well, I mean, he did ask for it, quite literally, so, okay. Without the lack of trying, one of my friends was super convinced this girl he was talking to online was into him, said that she was from Ghana, and even sent pics and blurry vids of herself, but made lame excuses as why she couldn't do a live video chat or a phone call. He spent hundreds, if not thousands of money to send her because her mom was sick, and rent money, etc. Yes, it's one of those dating scams. She found him on Yahoo Messenger. Anyway, even with evidence that she was some dude from NorCal scamming him for false hopes of romance, he still wouldn't budge, and even had the gall to call me a jealous hater. I left him alone until his pretty much was losing money every week. His friends made fun of him, to this day, of his stupidity. The only reason he finally gave up, other than being broke, was when he tells me his friend sends me a screenshot of her chatting up with other men who posted their scam stories online. Same photos and name used. He confronted the girl, which she gave a sob story that she was hacked, and don't believe your friends, my love. He still actually believed her for another week before getting convinced he was conned. Oh, okay, so here's an idea. How long before we start implementing some sort of internet course for kids growing up in school? I feel like there needs to be a full-on lesson for a lot of people on here's how you spot a scam. My then girlfriend wanted to walk into the Great Salt Lake. I told her it wasn't sand on the shore, but mud. Deep, sloppy mud. She didn't care what I thought. She thought I was an idiot. So I sat back and watched. She stepped off a rock and sank in the stinkiest mud that exists. She wallowed around to find her shoes, then retreated to the rock. Smelled so bad. She made it to a bathroom and washed herself off. Had to throw the shoes away. Couldn't get the smell out. Dumb. I'm still laughing. Yeah, as somebody who lives very close to the Great Salt Lake, you might be very surprised when I say that almost nobody ever goes in the lake for any reason. Nobody swims in it, nobody takes boats out in it. It's kind of just an all-around gross place. People travel much further distances if they want to go to a lake. But just to finish this off, I have a very meta story that fits in with this topic that actually happened while I was recording this video. So there was a spider that was just like walking up the wall and walking around the ceiling, and you probably saw Faye was looking all around. And I took a video of her trying to swat it off the ceiling from the top of there. But I'm gonna go put that up on Faye's channel right now, so go watch that.